Hey guys, so glad to have you back. Strength or weakness, week 2. Gonna talk really fast because I just want to get all of this in under 5 minutes. Today we're talking about irrational fears. Makes me smile a little bit because my wife's one of the most fearless people I know, and don't tell her I told you this, but if you put a cricket or some other sort of jumpy grasshopper thing, she will freak out. She'll almost convulse. Even though those things can't harm her, she just does not like them, and it's pretty irrational. Now I'm going to pat myself on the back because I don't have those kind of irrational fears. I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm not afraid of heights. I'm not afraid of snakes. Ooh. The Bible calls this thing a fear of man, and I certainly have that, and it is an irrational fear. God says that I measure up, and that should be enough. But for me, man, I want people to think highly of me. I want people to feel like I am as good as I sell myself to be. I don't want people to say, you can't do it. So today, as we talk about irrational fears, let's kind of dig into a story in the Bible where someone has an irrational fear and they suffer the consequences for it. So Abraham, in Genesis, he's made it to the promised land, and shortly after there's a famine. There's no food in the house. There's no food in the pantry, and he's got to head out and try to find some food. And so that will eventually take him to Egypt and then Gerar. In both of these places, before he enters, he says to his wife, he says, "Hey, Sarah, if you haven't noticed, you're pretty hot, maybe one of the hottest chicks around. Let's tell everybody that you're just my sister. You know, you're my half-sister. It's a half-truth. Let's just not mention those nuptials, okay?" How horrible a situation this is. Abraham is putting his safety over his wife's, and he's basically telling her, you know what, I'd like it if I remain safe, and so if that means that you need to be brought into someone's harem or their wedding bed, then so be it. And that's exactly what happens. Not the wedding bed part, because God intercedes and he protects Sarah, but he has to do that by cursing Abimelech and Pharaoh in order that they will eventually figure out that Abraham has lied to them. Well, I've heard many people say that there's really no consequence for Abraham in this situation, and I disagree. If you were really hungry, if you had no food in the pantry and you headed into the grocery store and you did something wrong, you yelled at someone, I don't know, but they told you to leave, you leave without groceries. You leave without the reason that you went there. And your stomach's still going to be hungry at the end of the night. And that's exactly where Abraham is now. He's ran off with his tail between his legs, and he has to go find somewhere else to survive. He's certainly got consequences that he would have felt and he would have suffered and he would not have been happy about. Now, the same thing happens to us. When we allow our irrational fears to drive our actions, it will bring about consequences that are negative that we wish to avoid. All right, so how do we work on that? How do we avoid that? Well, first we have to address the fear. We have to just acknowledge, I'm afraid of this. Okay, great, no problems. Weakness, right? I can deal with that. But then we have to assess it. Is it really irrational? We don't want to disregard rational fears that keep us from being eaten by lions. But is it something that's irrational? Is it going to harm me? For my wife, a cricket's not going to harm her. And then we have to attack it. I had a counselor tell me once, he said, "Dave, you need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable." Ugh, that sounds hard. Well, you know what? It is a little bit hard, but it's so valuable. Lately, I've been trying to go to the local college and just sit down and have conversations with people that I've never met, and just hopefully have a spiritual conversation with them. And let me tell you, when you have a fear of man, a fear of rejection, that's a tough one. It's really hard, but you know what? It's stretching me, it's helping me, it's growing me, and I believe that God's going to do great things through it. And so as you face your irrational fears, you deal with them, you address them, you assess them, and you attack them, I believe God's going to bring great things in your life. All right, so this is Strength Through Weakness, week 2. Like, subscribe, share, whatever you can do to help grow the channel. I'd appreciate it. Signing out.